What is up, everybody? So, I'm going to explain a little bit about cognitive functions. And by the end of this video, you're going to, if you're an honest person anyway, you're going to see why I don't type by the functions, or at least why I don't put full faith into them. So, a lot of people get carried away with it. Like, I'll give you an example. Someone one time tried to argue that I'm not an INTP because I can be kind of dismissive of YouTube commenters, and they say that INTPs are super open-minded to what anyone has to say. And as usual, it's a false premise, because anyone who knows me in real life knows, if anything, I'm like too open-minded, too open to what other people have to say. Just ask my brother or anyone who knows me well. So what these people have failed to realize is there's like a certain group called YouTube commenters that I kind of just stopped listening to a long time ago. And if you're a YouTuber out there, you'll understand why. You'll understand exactly what I'm saying. So basically, this person has made a false assessment. This person is supposedly a professional typer too. A false assessment, which happens a lot actually, really, because you're typing someone you've never actually spoken to or met. They're always false premises. So, I mean, you're definitely not an INTP if you do that. If you make a firm conclusion that it's false. I don't think I've ever done that in my life. Like, genuinely. I don't think I've ever once in my life been confident in something that is false. It's something that easily to prove wrong. And that's most of the arguments I receive from people on YouTube. Are so easy to disprove that I see it like within seconds. I see the false. I mean, sometimes it's just completely backwards. Like someone just said, I'm starting to question whether you're really an INTP on my post saying that admiring Elon Musk as sort of like a savior of the world. Okay, so what's interesting about that is everything about that post checks out as INTP. Admiring someone who's fighting against wokeism, highly INTP. Hating celebrity worship, highly INTP. Everything about that post. And if your argument is that it seems to suggest that I lean right, that also is INTP. Because most INTPs are independents or lean right. So everything about that, again, a confident statement, a confident comment that is completely backwards from the truth. If a true INTP as a real INTP, that's bizarre. It's utterly bizarre. I don't think I've ever made a false statement with confidence. I've maybe been tentative about something that's false, but I've never been confident, like so confident that I'm literally insulting people. That's 99% of the arguments I receive. I'm not really sure why that is. Actually, I have some theories. I think it's because most of the people in the type community have poor TI. That's my theory. Like INFJs, ENFPs, a lot of NFs, or just don't have very good judgment. They maybe have strong perception like an ENP, but not very good judgment. It's really bad for whatever reason. But, and I could make the same argument if I were to type totally by cognitive functions. I don't know why I'm doing quotes. If I were to type totally by cognitive functions, that person that tried to say that I'm not an INTP for being closed-minded or whatever, which is a false assessment and completely backwards, not just false, completely backwards from how I actually am. I could just as easily say they're not an ENTP. This person is an ENTP because that's poor TI to have such poor discernment, such careless discernment like that. That's poor TI. I could easily say you're not an ENTP, and this is why I don't put my full trust into the cognitive functions for typing. Because I simply don't think they're not I still think that person's an ENTP, even though they have this poor TI. Because the cognitive functions guys are just a theory. You're treating a theory, you're treating this abstract framework for understanding types as these like literal objects, and you think they're all separate from each other when they're not. They're actually all working together. And you think you can like separate them and argue them in, independent from each other. I think that's what causes most mistypings. is you're just simply you're putting too much faith into cognitive function theories, a theory of another man. You're definitely not an INTP if you do that. Plain and simple. If you think you're an INTP, you're putting full stock into theories of other people. See, as a real INTP, I'm actually really skeptical of other people's theories. I actually find more confidence in my own theories. Very common for TI DOMs. Because I find my own to be more accurate. I find myself to be more accurate in kind of discerning which theories are viable and which aren't. I find most people aren't very good at this. It's just the way it is. Other real INTPs will relate with that. But anyway, it's like even someone, Carl Jung, even someone who's a psychoanalyst. INTPs don't care about credentials. They don't care about your PhDs or anything like that. They care about the substance of what you're saying. They care about how viable it actually is. They don't give a fuck about anything else. And saying, oh, someone who questions evolution, actually, that's very highly INTP. Anyone who tries to say I'm starting to question whether you're an INTP because you question evolution. Sorry, if you've never questioned evolution, you're not an INTP. I can solve this right now for you guys. If you think you're an INTP, you're not. If you've never questioned evolution, if you just bow down to what your teachers said, you never question them, you're not an INTP. Plain and simple. If you watch that video and you instantly, without even watching it, you don't watch through. You watch maybe like 30 seconds of you just comment. You just leave a hate comment. You're not an INTP. Sorry. Either that, or you're in some sort of you're intentionally being dishonest because of cognitive dissonance or whatever. You're intentionally not wanting to listen to the arguments from the other side out of some sort of bias, like Richard Dawkins does. He's a very intellectually dishonest INTP. Those exist. Not all, some INTPs are gonna fall into those poor habits. Even a lot of other more sophisticated atheists will admit that Richard Dawkins is a very intellectually dishonest atheist. He doesn't take the argument seriously, and that's why he gets destroyed so badly. He's not an honest person at all. So that's another thing people fail to understand is you could be a certain type and just fall into these poor habits. It doesn't mean you're a different type, But anyway, what's this video? What was it supposed to be about? But, I basically just wanted to talk about that, why I don't put my full trust in the cognitive function. I just demonstrated it for you. Someone who's a real ENTP, I could have easily argued for them not being an ENTP because of their poor TI. But I simply don't put that much faith in the cognitive functions for typing people at all. And I think that's a very good reason to not. Because you could easily, this is how you get all these crazy typings. You take one celebrity, you'll have a different typing almost everywhere you go. Almost every person, typology expert you talk to will have a different typing. And it's always because they're saying shit like, oh, I just don't see the NI. Oh, is that your argument? You don't see it? You don't see it with your eyes? Is that what you're saying? You don't see the NI? It should almost get to the point, guys, where you just block anyone who talks like that. Anyone who talks about seeing cognitive functions, that's someone who is not typing responsibly, in my opinion. I don't think you have enough discernment. I don't think you have enough. Maybe you don't have enough TI. Maybe you definitely don't have enough discernment, intellectual honesty. If you're typing like that, if you're just coming in and be like, I don't see it. I don't see that, and you'd have no other argument besides that. Besides, I don't see it. I don't see the NI. So what's your argument? No, I just don't see it. You know what NI is? You don't know what you're talking about? Anyway, guys, there you go.